Okay, everyone, time is 5 o'clock. We'll go ahead and start this meeting. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance. Please join me for that.
Oh, so sorry.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I will go ahead and open the floor for public comment. Please keep your comments limited to 3 minutes per person and state your name and where you're from. And we'll start with the room here. Anybody in the room have a public comment? Don't everybody go at once. Go ahead.
I was just wondering about with speed limit on the highway there. For Blue Mountain Station, has anybody talked to the state about maybe slowing that down to 45? To which I think you guys are gonna maybe propose to put another road onto the highway.
The way I understand it, we can't unless it was annexed, correct?
Cause it's like 60, and then you turn for that church and that's 60 miles an hour there. It would seem that it would be a no brainer maybe for them to say, yeah, we'll slow that to 45 or something like that. To be
We actually
safer.
talked to them, do you want me to
Yeah,
answer
go
this?
ahead, please.
We actually talked to them when we built Blue Mountain Station, and they said it cannot be lowered unless there is, unless it's annexed into the city, really,
So
or
we
unless there was some sort of a change, so.
like stealing a sign and putting it in.
But we are actually, contemplating annexing, trying to annex the Blue Mountain Station site into the city, and it wouldn't affect other residences, so please don't, there's no uproar needed.
Right,
Because not only for that reason, but also because of signage. We can't have signage on the highway because it's a scenic byway. That's why there's no signs that say Blue Mountain Station, turn here.
right.
And utility prices, they're more expensive in the county, so the utility prices would be lower for the tenants. And we have learned, that we could, with only annexing the adjacent city, church property, the
Right,
round church,
okay,
that would make it contiguous with the city because our port industrial park is in the city and it would be across the road from each other. And so the DOT and the city, my understanding is they're saying that that would be allowed. So then it wouldn't affect a bunch of other properties. It would just be, and the church, it doesn't, they'd be fine with it because they're actually selling off lots anyway. So that is a goal, but they told us no 10 years ago. And that was one of the feedback pieces we got from neighbors when we were proposing the project, is that they wanted the speed limit to be lowered. The people that live out there don't like the speed of people going by right where their driveways are.
even all the way up to that trailer park.
Exactly,
that I
it was
never
that
stopped
stretch,
on.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just 45 till there would be nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, just
Yeah.
wondering, okay,
What was your name?
Don Hicks. Been in Dayton for 20 years.
Anybody else in the room have a public comment? Anybody on Zoom have a public comment? Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and get right into our agenda items then. Administrative items, approving the minutes. Have the commissioners had a chance to go over and review the minutes?
I have. Yep.
I have as well. Any comments or questions, concerns or changes?
I don't have any, no.
No, look good to me, so I'd accept the motion to approve the minutes as written.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
I'll second that motion.
So a motion and a second to approve the minutes as written. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. Minutes are approved. Reviewing monthly budget report and approving of vouchers.
Okay, so we're about 33% through the year. Things look good on the budget front, very good. The fiber leases continue to increase each month. Above what we had budgeted, so I budgeted 10,000 a month and now we're almost at 15, I think. So significantly higher than expected. And then so on this your voucher sheet, the things I would bring to your attention would be the large Department of Revenue payment is a leasehold tax payment It's larger than normal this quarter because of the fiber leases. We have to charge leasehold tax
Okay.
on when we lease the fiber to the ISPs. And there was a backup of charges that got all stuck in one quarter. And then Blue Mountain Tel, of course, is the Touche Valley Broadband Project. Power and Tel are more materials because of the additional premises we're adding to the Touche Valley Broadband Project.
Mhm.
Precision garage doors were 2 garage doors at Dayton Tractor that needed to be replaced. That is the oldest building in the industrial park. So they had a good run. Quality signs, that's had down payment for the new Blue Mountain Station Public Market sign. And, TBR Publications is the visitor guide, the Touche Valley Visitor Guide that our local people are putting together. And then, Washington State Department of Transportation, that's another permit for an underground fiber crossing on the highway.
Okay.
Then Blue Mountain Tel is, again, that's the splicing that they're, yeah. So, those are the ones we had highlighted, but we can answer questions on any others if you have them.
So how much is, this is quality signs, is the sign that,
That's half, that's a down
I
payment,
was
yeah.
gonna say, how much is that?
Yeah, so that's half. So the sign is 7,000 or whatever with tax, about 8,000. Yeah.
Does it light up?
No, oh no, Johnny. Yeah, big. And I sent it to you in the packet. Yeah,
I
you saw
saw the
the
sign,
sign, yeah.
looked good, I was just like. what's-
You know, the two, we're putting 2 more directional signage on Main Street. The task force is, it's not port related, but for those 2, it's 14,000
Who's doing the signs?
quality signs out of Tri-Cities. Yeah. So they have to have a truck that can, telescope up, onto the building without ruining everything in front.
Been wrong.
Made of gold, yeah. Well, I think materials are pretty expensive, so
All right.
I don't think they're getting rich.
Any other questions or comments on the budget or vouchers?
No.
Okay.
There you go.
We have our leases. Do we have any leases this month?
We do, we have 2 leases. And which one are you giving me first? Okay, so this is the Bell Farm House lease. This is an annual lease, we do it every year, and I did, I've told you, I've been trying to raise the rent to market rate, so we raised it $100 last year, and I'm raising it another 100 this year, so it's getting closer. And so that's just for a year with the same tenants.
Okay.
Okay, and the second lease is a new business that is locating in Suite B at Blue Mountain Station. And that is Mountain Man Sourdough. And the 2 tenants are right back here, Veronica and Ryan, her husband Ryan. And they're going to be making sourdough bread, if you can't tell by the business. So, 1-year lease? 1-year lease, okay. And the lease rates at Blue Mountain Station, we've increased them a little bit over the last few years, so this is at the higher rate that we have now, so. 53 cents a square foot, I think is where we're at, so, anyway, yeah. Do you guys wanna say anything? To put you on the spot.
We're in love with Blue Mountain Station. We think it's great. This also ties nicely into the grain cluster. We already plan to use all Washington local ingredients, salt and flour. And we've already collaborated with the partners we plan on using for flower for the grain cluster, so trying to keep it as local as possible. And we'd love to create a great product for you guys.
Excellent. These are breads.
We're gonna start with a couple different options for breads. We'll probably go into cinnamon rolls at some point.
Oh, now you
I've
got my
also
attention.
played with the
What's that?
idea.
What's that?
Do that first.
David Wynn does go that
Oh, great, guys, you're all, yeah. We're also
Good.
playing with the idea of selling crepes out the window on special occasions, sourdough crepes, so we're.
Nice.
But yes, over time, we'll continue to expand our offerings.
Well, welcome aboard.
We're moving into the States next month, and we hope to be at market first. So we'll be in Blue Mountain Fishing Hall.
All right,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
yes, thank you.
Exciting.
Now, I don't know, are you local or did you come in?
Yeah, we live in Dayton
How long you been here?
for almost
Four.
5 years. I bought a house here in 2019. How long ago? 4 years. And then I was raised in Walla Walla.
Did you have this business elsewhere? It's
No.
already group, so this is,
It's a brand
Kinda
new
like,
baby.
hey, let's
Yeah.
do this thing, right?
Yeah.
Wow, right, good. Very cool.
And you, Veronica, it does, she's the consultant that does the social media work for the port,
Right.
so,
Yeah.
and she's helping Jill on the grain cluster marketing, so.
Yeah, so I run a marketing agency and Ryan is maintenance manager of a food production facility. So this will be in addition to those things.
Oh, very good.
And we were quite surprised when one day we were talking about the grain cluster and Veronica dropped that on our lap. "Oh, I've always wanted to do this and I have a business plan. So, kind of fun.
Yeah, we're
Very
excited.
fun.
Thank you guys.
Good. Excellent. Does that mean we're?
Yep.
full?
Yeah, we just
Like-
have had that one space that was not full. I've kind of been not filling it on purpose because of the grain cluster idea, but what better fit for the grain cluster? So,
And everything else is.
oh, everything is full. Everything is full to overflowing here. We have nothing. It's hard. I wish we had more. Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and do an update on port assets, Rock Hill Industrial.
Okay, I already mentioned the overhead doors at Dayton Tractor. They were thrilled to have new doors. We have got, I think Tracy mentioned before, the spray and landscape contracts are in place and we're talking to the spray company about coming down and the places that he sprayed, you know, that he sterilized last year in the industrial park all look great, but that spot down in front of the USDA that was freshly disturbed
Right.
needs work, so he's coming to town soon to get started on that.
Okay.
And then I wanted to talk about the lighting incentive project. This is a proposal from an electrician out of the Tri-Cities that is like a affiliate or, I don't know if they're certified or licensed or whatever, they are able to participate in this incentive program with Pacific Power.
Okay.
Because they have to be, I don't know, I can't come up with the right word.
Great ally.
But, okay, there it is, great ally, thank you. And so he has done an analysis of the buildings that it would make sense to do a lighting incentive on. Some of them don't make as much sense because either we've done an incentive fairly recently, so they're still fluorescent, they're not LED, but he said most of those fixtures could be changed out with LED bulbs.
Mhm.
But there were, actually, I put 6 on here, but it's actually 7 buildings that he has identified. And so I did the math on them all. We have to pay, the net project cost after the incentive plus the sales tax on the whole thing. The state doesn't give you an incentive.
Right.
So if I add up all of the cost of the lighting incentive project plus the total sales tax, it would be 61,185. With the incentive program plus the sales tax, it's 23,818.94. So it's about 38% of the total.
Okay.
And I have to say that I forgot to look at the capital facilities project list. We need to do that before the meeting because we had lighting incentive projects on there.
Right.
I just don't remember what they added up to. But anyway, it seems like a very, kind of a no-brainer thing to do. A couple of the buildings really need better lights. The ones that's the most expensive out of them all is Dayton Tractor. and that's partly because it's the largest building.
Mhm.
And also because they do have some of the more modern fluorescent lights in there, but they would be very appreciative of better lighting, especially in the shop.
Right.
So, we have money in our capital budget, so we could just bite the bullet and do them all. We could use some of them. We could do it however we want, but I was pretty happy with the price. And we don't even have to pay everything out of pocket and wait for the incentive. This, because we're considered in the small business category, the incentive goes to the electrician, so we only pay our 23,818.94 out of pocket.
And this is part of the Washington Watts Smart.
Yeah, I
Program.
think
Yeah.
that's what that sheet said, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's generally what they.
Yep,
And then the tenants would have less utility bills.
oh,
with
yes,
Better lighting,
yes, they would.
with
Yep,
less wattage.
I think
usage.
they, let's see, did they say how much? Yeah, they did talk about how many kilowatts of savings there would be per building. I have a packet for every facility. I just sent you that one as a sample.
So there's a, shop, office, upstairs offices. What's the seventh one?
He
There's
said he
6
would
here.
throw in another, industrial building 1A at no additional charge. Don't ask me why.
All right.
Cowboy bullets.
Okay. And,
That was if, let's see, why did he say it with this one? If I did, yeah, if we chose to do Red Band Cellars, because that's one of them, Dave. He would also do Cowboy Bullets. He said Cowboy Bullets was pretty easy.
okay, and then what's the impact to the tenants?
They have a lower electricity
I
rate.
don't know, impact.
Oh,
Make sure that.
they just would
Do
have
they
to,
have to be out of there for a couple days?
no, it's not that serious. No,
Okay,
no, I think, did he talk to you, Dave? Oh, he didn't. Okay.
We talked
He
about-
must have talked to your guys, because he said he talked to somebody about that, things could just be moved out of the way as needed.
Yeah, sure.
I think that's what has to happen, is the tenant just has to participate in being out of the way of a certain area of the building for them to reach up and work on the lights.
yeah, I'm sure they wouldn't mind it, just want to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
If we're gonna go through that, just have those conversations
With the tenants.
with
Oh, sure.
tenants and say, hey, this is the impact it's gonna be, you're gonna be down for a couple hours or what have you.
Yeah, and I don't think there's even any down.
Because if you have to shut
Section by
power off
Section by section,
to
yeah.
certain equipment, you
Yeah.
know, that you're down, type stuff. So just maybe that would be a concern, make sure we address it. I don't think it's a problem, just think it's something to address.
Okay,
I'd say go for it. If we have the money.
Total was what?
$23,818.94.
That's about, what, 30% of the,
It's 38% of the total.
38%
Yeah.
of the total?
Yeah, and let's see, what was our capital facility or capital? And we don't have to do it all right now either. We can or not, it doesn't matter. Land and capital improvements, we have a $70,000 budget. So there is money budgeted for this would be considered a capital improvement.
Right. Well, some of the times when you do parts work, you have mob and demob.
Oh, yeah.
costs,
Mhm.
They go into that, so, when you do onesie and twosies, it ends up costing, or the contractor does not as well. Love to have a local contractor to be able to do it, but, I understand the guidelines of Smart and, that incentive program,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, I think we should probably, take advantage of the opportunity to save some money on the project costs and.
okay, all right, sounds good. I will do it.
Here pretty soon, that's the only thing you're gonna be able to purchase anyways.
Yeah.
You won't be able to buy the other stuff, it won't be available.
Yeah, I got something in the mail the other day wanting me to have a heat pump hot water tank. It's the first I heard of that. It claimed a 25% energy saving, or what did it say? 25, yeah, I think it was 25%.
Yeah, I don't think you can get T12s, T8s are heading out, so,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
the same company met with me.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
talked about us converting.
Mhm.
Most of what we've already converted, so certainly not this.
You don't
side
get
of
as
the
much of
project.
incentive,
Yeah.
yeah.
The other part of that too is to take a look at the buildings that you can change just the bulb, to look at that. and
Yeah.
See what,
And that's
We
what
can-
I've done
we can do.
personally
Yep.
for
Mhm.
5 years now, 6 years.
Yeah, and he said it would change the bulb and take out the ballast, so that is somebody, we could have somebody local do that.
All right.
Okay, great, thank you.
Mhm.
That's it for Rock Hill.
Okay. Lion Story Marina.
Okay, so I'm going to give just show a few slides. Most of the information you already know, but I just want to give a little bit of an overview before we ask you to vote on the resolution. Let's see, so now I have to do this. I don't remember how I did that before. I had to share the screen and then come on, Zoom, come back, Zoom. Why are you not coming? Oh, it's up on your screen, but not mine? What happened? I don't know what happened. Yeah, it does not show up. Can you see my cursor up there? Nope. Wow. Well, let me close this and see if it wrecked it. Wow, the whole thing is like frozen.
There you are, you're back.
Okay, I'm back, but I hope I don't like,
Technology great.
oh, it's just. Because last time I had to do this and the same thing happened. It's like I had to start the meeting before I. Boy, it just doesn't like that, does it? Okay, well. Let me just look at the presentation myself. I guess that you won't be able to see it, which is really a bummer.
Can you show?
Can you go to share your screen on Zoom?
Yeah.
See, it's up.
Well,
there
I
now.
could.
It's
I-
up there now.
But I can't get Zoom to open. There we go. Okay, here we go. It's gonna work. It's gonna work.
Yeah, I didn't share screen.
Yeah, now it's gonna work. Oh, I just couldn't pull it up on my screen. It wouldn't show up. But I don't know that I can, after, if it's not started, I don't know if I can start see, I can't start the slideshow. So you're gonna have to look at my slideshow in an ugly format, okay? I will move these people over here. Here. How's that? Okay, so, no, I can't do that because I have to move the slides over there. Nope, that doesn't work either. So a little bit of background. So the marina was quite a site when I started working at the port in 2007, as most of you know. Garbage everywhere, no staff on site during busy times, dirty bathrooms, no locks on the moored docks, wild parties in the campground. In fact, there was a stabbing at the campground my first summer here. So after working with the concessionaire for a year, putting in an improvement plan and watching things further deteriorate, we terminated their lease in 2008. And we put out an RFP for concessionaires, and we were lucky enough to land Jim and Angela MacArthur as our next tenants. And one of the first things they wanted to do was to ask if they could turn the marina business into a KOA. So what I've learned, over the years working with the concessionaires is the KOA standards are high. And they mesh really well with the Corps of Engineers standards because the Corps of Engineers are more focused on health and safety. But KOA is focused on amenities and customer service and what attractions there are. And so I've seen nothing but the marina exceed the standards of the Corps of Engineers because of the KOA standards that they have in place. They inspect the property every year and they do customer satisfaction surveys of the users. So the concessionaires get good feedback from that. And so Jim and Angela really started the upward trajectory of the marina, and Wally and Joanne, who are here tonight. I have Walla in the presentation. Walla and Joanne have really taken it to the next level. And as you know, it is now a beautiful, busy, professional operated facility. So there's just a cover picture of their website. It's a nice website that is obviously part of the KOA brand. So, one of the KOA requirements, or the KOA has requirements to remain a KOA. So, some of the benefits include a point of sale system, the work camper program, and the extensive marketing that drives visitors to the marina. And so one of those new standards was the pull-through RV sites. Joanne, do you remember what year that came into play? Was it 2017? Was that? Okay, I think it was about 2017. And so that's due to the large number of huge number of large RVs that travel our country each year now. So this requirement was supposed to be met several years ago. And KOA has allowed the business to stay a KOA as long as we showed progress toward installing the required sites. So they have been, great partners. We have an award-winning concessionaire. They pass the Corps and Department of Health inspections with flying colors every year. They've invested many of their own funds into the facility and partner with us regularly to stretch our dollars, because we don't budget a whole lot for the marina every year. And as their revenues have increased, they've invested their own funds in capital improvements, such as the cabins and the laundromat and covered wagons. And they have a proven track record of using some of their own revenue to maintain our facility. And this is just a list of some of the things they've done, and I forgot the wagons on this list, but just some of the things that they've done with their own money, not port funds. For example, the cabins, the port put in, we helped pay for electrical and water extensions, but they put in the cabins. And then on top of that, they pay to do extensive maintenance out there every year. So, we started a facility improvement planning process, and I think it was 2017. Conducted an RFP for design services and had 4 respondents and chose a company. They conducted the assessment and provided alternatives for facilities improvements. So this was the improvement, the option that we chose, and this is on our website. The whole plan is on our website, but it just shows kind of the where some of the new amenities could go in the grand scheme of things at the marina. And so the RV spaces were on here. They're not in the exact same spot where we've proposed them now, but it was in that plan from 2017. And then this is the schematic that Anderson Perry prepared for us for the 10 RV sites that we're proposing to install now. These would be RV sites with patios, and there would be a new upland restroom. So, and as we've talked about at prior meetings, we know there are many other things at the marina that need attention. And so in working with the RCO, the concessionaires and I met with them once, and I've had multiple conversations with them on the phone since. And I provided you a proposed schedule a couple meetings ago about how we could go about undertaking this improvement while not casting aside the needs of the rest of the marina. And so this was the proposed schedule when we talked with them. Apply for the funds now to construct the RV pull-through sites. And then in October of this same year, we would apply for planning funds that would allow us to engineer the future improvements and apply for the in-water work permits that take about 2 years. And then we would, the RCO is on a 2-year cycle. So every 2 years after that, we would look at what we wanted to do and what we could apply for. In meeting with Wally and Joanne, they believe that the replacing or repairing the crib wall if needed, and the linear dock A, B, and the gas dock would probably be most important right off the bat, because the gas dock is old concrete dock that's kind of deteriorating on the top. And then after that, the sea moorage and boat launch, because they need to be done at the same time. Then the sea moorage is the worst moorage. Probably the other two can be, we can keep them. They don't need to be
The other
replaced.
two will
but
probably be good
C,
for another 10
yeah,
years.
Yeah, C needs to be replaced. And then 2030 or beyond, apply for funds to replace the breakwater if needed. So the grant application, I've been going through it, and I've started on it. So we've budgeted approximately 1.3 million for the work. That's a little bit more than the sheet that Anderson Perry gave us, but that was just for construction.
Right.
So we have to budget for architecture and engineering at the beginning. And then the match requirement is 30%. Normally it is 50%, but because this project address is Starbuck, we get a break on the match because Starbuck is an area of higher need. I met with the concessionaires yesterday and we went through the shocking numbers of match. But they are committed to helping find in-kind match as well as providing cash match to meet that requirement. There is in-kind work that could be done, you know, earthwork or other things. I think the port should put in some money, some match money as well. And if we do, then our leases call out, if we make improvements on behalf of a tenant, then their rent increases between 0.5% and 1% per month based on the amount of that improvement. And so the resolution that I have before you today, it doesn't have to be submitted until July for the technical review phase. But I don't really, this is a lot of work, this grant, and I don't want to go through the work unless, you know, you are committed to moving forward. So, that is why it is before you today. So I guess I would entertain questions if you have any, or Wally and Joanne are here too,
Okay.
or
Questions?
discussion.
Yeah, I had a great opportunity to go out and, hang out there, with Walt and Joanne, and the work that they do and the commitment they have. It is evident, not only with the conversations, but with what I see out there. So one of my concerns with spending any money is always, okay, what skin in the game does the individual have when we're trying to do that? And I couldn't think of, better individuals to actually doing that, work, with the information you had. I do have a couple questions. And I hope we get to a point where we can move this forward. But I have a couple of questions. On the 2021, September 28, 2021 KOA brand positioning letter. That you guys gave me. So I'm trying to understand what the minimum expectations are, right? I've been hearing 10 pull-throughs this whole time, right? And so I'm looking at it and I'm like, I can't get it through my head yet on what it says, so I just need a little help on what it says there. So it says, the following items need complete, for you to fulfill the criteria of KOA holiday brand, and that's what we're trying to do, and that's what you currently are as holiday brand,
Yeah.
right? Because of the location where it's at and the amenities that we're trying to get there, but that's what delineates the name of it. So it says RV sites, 3 of each type meeting the criteria. But there's an asterisk on it, and I go down below and I read the criteria. And it says RV sites, a minimum of 10 with an asterisk, RV sites, either pull-through sites, a minimum of 65 feet long, or back-end sites. A minimum of 55 feet long, and a minimum of 10 additional RV sites, either pull-through or back-end sites. So the way I'm reading this is they don't have to be pull-through to be a holiday, the way I'm reading it. It says 10 and 10, that's these 20, and then, but you go down below and the note, it says at least 10% of the RV sites must meet each of the 2 listed RV requirements, or a maximum of 10. For instance, a KOA holiday with 50 RV sites would need 5 of the first set, either pull through or back in with those distance requirements. And 5 of the second set with the distance requirements of 55 feet long. So it's 10 feet shorter on the second set, and then 40 feet long on the back ends, which is 15 feet shorter on that. So I'm trying to figure out where we got to the 10 pull-throughs as the minimum to be the holiday.
Well, on average, we turn away about that many people every year because we can't get them in.
Okay,
So we figured the 10 would be what we need to do to bring those customers back.
That and we can't take any of our existing sites and extend them to meet the criteria.
okay,
So we figured if we were going to do one type of site, we would do all the same and make them pull throughs. And then we can entertain some customers coming in that have the larger rigs that our current smaller sites can't fit, anything over 40 feet. And there's a lot of RVs out there now that are running 42 to 45 feet,
mhm,
towing a vehicle.
yeah,
So
Or the ones with the 5th wheel trailers, you got a truck that's 18 feet long, pulling a 45-foot trailer.
okay, all right.
Don't they have to have patios? Did it say anything about patios on there?
Yeah, you have to
Okay.
have, so when you
Yeah.
go into the criteria, so it says, those are the, and then they have to meet this, 50 to 30 amp. Power, minimum 10 foot wide RV pad. RV pad plus yard combined site width is 25 feet. Measured between light points and adjacent sites. Sorry about the reading, but I didn't bring my glasses. So I'm trying to find just the right spot where I can see it. New sites must be 35 feet wide between 60° maximum site angle. Okay, whatever that means. 30 foot minimum egress, radius, RV pad must be level, basically a 212 pitch, 1 inch per 6 feet. Picnic table, fire ring, lighted pedestals, as replaced. They don't have to be there if you already have something, but as you replace them through attrition, then you have to add them. That's my understanding of what that is. And then sewer is recommended, but not required.
Yeah.
Okay, so my understanding, just so that I know what I'm looking at, is the 10. It doesn't mean that the 10 is the minimum, what we have to put in there. The 10 is what would work best for what you guys think it is. Do we know the minimum of what need to be in there to keep it a holiday?
Wasn't that in part of me?
Yeah, that's the part I'm trying to understand. And rather than, there was a number on there and I was gonna call them and I said, you know what, I'll just talk to you guys first.
Yeah, so it does have to be a minimum of 10 sites and they can be either pulled through or back in,
And 10.
and 10 RV sites, so either pull through. So it does have to be a minimum of 10 and we've chosen to go with 10 pull through instead of putting the back in, doing back in and pull through. So that was,
Yeah, and the way I read this is it says, anytime there's an and, that means both A and B. So that would be 20.
yeah, no, and they're telling us just 10.
Okay.
And that, yeah, and then Anderson Perry worked with KOA Design and KOA Design has approved what they have said they want to do, to put in the 10, and that will qualify us for keeping
Okay.
our holiday status.
All right,
But yes, I agree, that letter is confusing.
yeah, and I think I read it 37 times,
Mhm.
trying to figure out what does this mean, where we're at, so.
How many sites do we currently have that meet the criteria? I
With
know.
55, our biggest site is 40 foot long.
So the answer is 0?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and we're parking them on the grass,
Well,
having them back onto the grass.
and there's
So-
no place, I mean, if you could take the ones we have and make them bigger, that would be great, but it's because
We have
of,
no room
because of the
behind.
way the marina is terraced and there's, you can't do it.
Right. So we've been
Trust me,
grandfathered
that's
in
what-
on a couple of
That's what I
things
tried to
because
get
of
them to do
that.
it.
Yeah, that was a question, and I've been out there, so
Oh,
I've
do they
seen them,
want
and I went, well, there's no.
250 square feet patio site
There's no way.
Yeah,
and the 35-foot spacing, we're only like 30 foot. And they've grandfathered us in.
unless you build new ones, then you have
Yeah,
to build them to
yeah,
the specs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay,
Mhm.
And see, when I redid all the water and electric sites up top, I extended them back another 20 feet. And pushed that hillside up and leveled it
okay.
to meet their criteria.
All right, well, that is, provides some clarity to otherwise mud that I was trying to put through my skull. So a couple other things, we already talked about total estimated cost 1.3. That's the total cost,
That's the estimate, yeah,
estimate with the extra.
yeah, with the,
whatever
yeah,
that we put
yeah.
in there. And that's today, or that was a year ago,
yeah, June of 2023,
okay?
almost a year ago,
So the
yes.
concern is, what is it now?
Well, I will make sure I know from Anderson Perry before I push the submit button on the application. Yeah.
I'm curious to see what that 1.3 turned into 1.5, 1.7. In it, total estimated time to construct, do we have a ballpark? Did they discuss from the time they broke ground to the time they get completed?
That Anderson Perry gave us or that the grant allows? Which one?
Either one. Yes,
No, Anderson Perry did not say how long it would take to complete. The grant, we would not see the money until 2025. So, and I think they give you at least 2 years to get things done, but we wouldn't see it until 2025. It's a long process.
okay. Let's see, in the port's commitment, so this was brought to us before this commission was sitting in these chairs. And we committed to somehow helping this process or before.
The commissioners before put this, they adopted that facilities plan as part of our comp plan.
Mhm.
And we didn't know the details.
And those conversations been
Yeah.
had with the concierge,
Yeah.
with the understanding that the port was on board.
Oh,
and
yes.
Trying to move
Yeah.
this
Yeah, I
forward.
guess I should let them
Um,
answer, yeah.
so-
Mhm.
So,
Well, and just another point is, this is the last of the upland activities from the, project you did with
Yeah.
Reed. This is the last of the upland projects. Everything else on that list of to-dos is now gonna be focused in the marina. And with that done, with the RVs getting put in, that sets us at a better rate of helping for the more expensive marina projects coming up.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that in my proposal, and I should, or my presentation, I should have that sheet, because part of the proposals were cabins,
mhm.
the laundromat,
Mhm.
the tent, I think the tent privacy. There's a
Yeah.
lot of things on that list that they have accomplished. Yeah.
Mhm.
And with the track records, is sometimes I may think, well, if we put the RV sites in, then we'll put some more money into the other thing.
Oh, yeah.
And that would make me go, okay, sure, but with the track record that I've seen, through that. That is clearly what you would probably do if you were to
Mhm.
create some more revenue to invest back into.
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely.
just thoughts, return on investment. We talked a little bit about last time, and I tried to find it in the documents that I had before, is what ballpark, what would it do to your business increase wise?
Increased revenue, for the first year would probably be $100,000 to $125,000, so that's a 10-year ROI, somewhere 10, 12. So yeah, that's a nice job for us to then reinvest back into the business.
And then we don't know what it would be, you're talking about 1%, 0.5 to 1% cost. Elevation for the rent,
Mhm.
depending on how much
How much we put in,
we put in, not the total
not the grant, just,
rent.
port funds. Mhm.
Port funds.
Yeah. so if we put in $100,000, their rent would go up $1,000 a month. If we did 1%.
No, say it was, sorry.
If we put in $100,000, if we settled on the 1% return on investment rate, their rent would go up $1,000 a month.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see, and then the match money, the 30%, that's total 30% for the whole project, right?
Right, so if we put in. The way I explain this to people, it's reimbursable. If we submit a bill to the RCO, let's say a contractor did $100,000 worth of work. We submit that $100,000 bill to the RCO and they give us 70,000 of it. We have to cover 30%.
Okay,
That's match.
and so do we have a idea of what the port of that 30% is, and then other investors in that?
Well, they are currently working on twisting friends' arms or whatever they have to do to find ways for some in-kind match
Okay,
before they have to come up with cash. I was thinking hopefully our port could put in between 50 and 100,000.
that's what you're thinking.
That, I was hoping, but I'm not committing anything.
'Cause
I wanna see what they can pull together first.
Yeah, and then if it does turn into be 1.3 to 1 point whatever,
Yeah,
you're looking and say, well, one is 300,000 total. And then in kind, making sure that indeed, I tried to find it in that sample contract, that in kind
mhm.
would be allowable within that.
I
grant.
looked, they have all these lovely manuals I've had to read.
Oh,
and I
it was
read-
long. I was like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
gotta be in here somewhere.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It was like, a
Well, and
bug.
I read two of them and then found out that I'd missed this one.
Okay,
This is double-sided. But it says clearly in here, that they encourage in kind.
okay,
This RCO is wanting to reduce the cost of governments. They wanna maximize government dollars. So even though that sometimes complicates prevailing wage projects, this firm wants us to do that. And they gave an example of like earthwork, like physical, actual work counts as in kind. And if there are things that Wally and Joanne can do, then they put a value on the hours worth of their work, and that value can count as in kind. So our challenge is to figure out what could be in kind on a project like this.
Hopefully
The-
that
the big
is
chunk-
prevailing as well.
The big chunk is earthwork and excavation is 150,000. That's a big.
So an example in looking what Jenny gave us, there's in need of, the RV electrical pedestals. Through KOA, we've got a vendor who gives us quite the discount and we can purchase those RV electrical pedestals at 250 each, which would be a lot less than what they're asking here.
They're
So
asking 50.
that would be an in-kind for us to be able to do and utilize our KOA discount on this project.
I mean, there's a lot of things that we can do to cut these costs.
And that was the last question I have here is one, having the opportunity to do that. To cut those costs and whatever the number is and say, okay, where can we shave? Where can we hit the sweet spot of be able to complete the project, but not be overboard building a $2 million swimming pool? That just is not. It
And,
happens.
and also not ask for too little, not underestimate. We can always not use it all. If we're authorized to use 1.3 million and we can make it cheaper.
And then we
Yeah.
just get that back, or we just don't get that much.
You
And
get
that's
it.
okay with the contract.
Oh, that's the way they like it, yeah.
Mhm.
Is there a minimum for that, to be for the grant?
A minimum,
A minimum amount that they.
to
will
apply
grant,
for?
To apply for.
I didn't look at the minimum, I looked at the maximum.
Yeah, in the event that we do shave it down, and they say, well, now
Oh.
you're below the minimum.
You were not gonna be
Okay.
below the minimum, no, I think no.
Um,
This one actually has no upper limit. I was like, what? Most of them have a limit, but this one didn't. I'll see if I can find it.
So, and this grant is primarily, or what we think would be state money,
Yes,
not
yes.
federal
I
money?
believe that it is state, yeah, yeah. But I will make sure, because it changes how we do things. Yeah,
Okay,
but this one is state. All the ones I read through, they have a lot of different programs and this one does not, it's called the Washington Wildlife and Recreation Program, and we're using the water access section. And, there is no indication that it's federal. But I will check on that before I push the button. It doesn't have a minimum.
okay.
No, there's no minimum. Just a maximum, or no, this one doesn't have a maximum either. What are the grant limits? None, just says none. Says none.
And so part of our incentive to, is to be able to bring in maybe the revenue and a track record grant wise to help facilitate continuing the projects that are needed, to get the port where it needs to be, rather than, hey, we're gonna do something shiny, not saying it's shiny, but do something shiny, but we really need to make sure we can launch boats. Right? Because if we can't launch boats, it's not much of a port.
Right.
Or a marina, the lake with a view, type deal. So, that's the process that we want to get to. The other part is we've just committed ourselves to the malt.
Mhm.
And so we have some obligation. I would imagine that went through.
We haven't gotten there yet, but yeah, we're gonna go make a presentation in May.
Yep. And it's so then our funding or our assets, because we have to put some matching loans and paybacks on some of that, making sure that we have enough. Is this gonna stretch us?
Well, the craft malt match is being provided by the business.
Yeah, but the loan that we have.
Yeah, we have to
pay back.
repay the loan, yeah,
And in the
Yeah.
event that,
yeah.
something happens or we have to pay that,
Yeah.
just making sure that we don't leave ourselves out there.
I totally agree. I
To those
agree with you
commitments as
100%.
well.
Yeah,
I want to
I
be able
agree.
to do all the commitments, but
I'm with you. I agree.
that's what I had. Sorry.
Thank you. And so can we meet our obligations if the crop malt go,
Yes.
thank you, okay?
Yeah, and that's why I didn't commit to a match yet. Like I said, I've given them some time to go see what they could pull together. in kind and cash wise, and then, I will make sure that whatever we commit or that we have the funds on hand. Yeah, we're doing well right now.
Yeah.
We're doing well, cash flow wise. With the fiber income is amazing.
That's what's.
It's really, well, no, it's,
Or it's what's.
no, it's
Enabling us
what's,
to
it's
do what
what's
we do.
padding us. Yeah, it's like, we were doing okay, but this is like, wow. So, and some of that needs to be saved for fiber projects. You know, it's not like we use it all on something else, but it just is really a nice income flow that will help us put some reserve away.
And the other thing with the planning, you know, we got this project, we got the malt project. I'm trying to think what other stuff or commitments that we might have that we know about right now in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
that we have.
I'm cognizant of that, and really the only other, the only other thing is really the grain cluster, which is a continuation of the craft mall project, which is really where there would be other areas that we might wanna spend some money. We don't have any fiber projects planned at the moment. I would like to continue looking into them, but I don't have anything planned at the moment. We do have to be cognizant of how much we can manage though, because we're a little bored.
Mhm.
But I don't have any other intentions of applying for grants, do I? Well, I guess just for the grain cluster. That was all right. I haven't said anything else. Okay.
So at a project cost of 1.3 to 1.5 million dollars roughly, we can expect a match of cash in kind combination of, you know, 400 to $500,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and as I pointed out to them, you know, that so much, I mean, this is an opportunity to build infrastructure for this business that
Right.
they don't have to pay all of it, you know, yeah, that's a big chunk of money, but imagine if they had to privately fund the whole thing, so
Mhm.
it's still a great opportunity.
Right.
And we have to still sort through it, you know, we gotta make it work, but
Mhm.
I feel optimistic.
And so I'm kind of curious as to, Johnny kind of already brought this up, as to what kind of match that the concessionaire is gonna be putting forward. You know, you mentioned you wanted to put up 100 to 150.
I said 50 to 100,
100.
yeah. Well, I told them they needed, you know,
Yeah.
I told them yesterday 390,000, but if we put in some, it would make it a little less.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're still looking at 300,000 and we're on board.
For your bench.
Mhm.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
It's a big commitment.
it's a big commitment.
It is.
They
So,
must have faith in the program.
Now, we watch that business go from here to here, and it's still growing every year
Yeah.
as far as income.
How long you guys plan on, doing this, you know?
Well, we're gonna hire him, and he's gonna be our on-site manager,
Yep.
so we can free up some more time.
that's the brand that's getting.
Oh, yeah.
And she's gonna
I'm
be
being
the
manager,
manager with
so-
him,
Yeah.
So we plan on being around.
and we're gonna stay around. We're
Right.
trying to buy a place in Starbuck right now, so we're not gonna be far away from everything that goes on.
I guess my question, without beating around the bush, is, you know, I don't know that we want to necessarily commit to this if you guys are gonna retire in a year and go off and, you know, leave us with everything.
Well, that's why we're bringing them on board too, so we can do
Right.
more of
So
what we
we-
want and still
yeah.
have
That makes
our
sense.
hands on that.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have talked transition planning, so, you
Mhm.
know, they're clearly it's in their thoughts, but they're not going anywhere right now.
No.
Not the next couple of
No.
years.
You guys have been great concessionaires, there's no doubt about that, and, you know, I understand that KOA is making these demands, it seems like they're kind of strong arming you and us into it, you know. But.
But the thing is too, we get so much from KOA, the campsite program, the advertising, all that. If we had to go out and buy a campsite program, we're looking at $50,000-$60,000.
Yeah, I get that.
And then another 25 to 50,000 just in advertising that we get nationally from them for free.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then when this first came across the desk is I thought it was, you all already set it up. You already committed to it and they came behind you and changed the game and said, well, now you have to do this. After I figured that that was not the case, then I went, oh, okay, that was from the very beginning, that was the expectation. Because that's what I didn't like when I was like, okay, you got some big corporations will get you in the door. Okay, now you have to do this to.
Yeah, they
maintain.
have standards
Yeah.
and they change every year,
Mhm.
because they wanna elevate their business.
Mhm.
It's like we wanna elevate ours.
Right. My next question would be more for you, Jenny. I just lost it.
Sorry, I was pointing because we had somebody with a hand up, so I was just wondering if you wanted to
Oh.
hear from anybody or not, but go ahead.
You'd mentioned that this, particular grant is very competitive. What happens if we are not approved for this grant?
I don't know. I don't know.
Plan B.
Because we can't just assume that.
Oh, no,
we're
we
going to
can't
get it.
just, well, we can't just assume we're gonna fund something for that much money.
Right,
Although, I mean, if there's the revenue to back it, you know, there could be a revenue bond or something issued, but that would be a whole new conversation.
right.
But
So we'll
If there's
talk
the
about not
revenue to-
just
yeah.
applying for the
if
grant
there's,
itself.
yeah, if there was revenue to back it,
Mhm.
this would be a pretty clear cut example of issuing a bond and paying it back.
Right.
Yeah. But I hadn't even really thought that far ahead. I plan to write a competitive grant proposal. Hope it works.
Which meets the intent of this letter
Mhm.
is moving forward.
Yes.
Well, one of the questions in the grant program is, what is the threat? And I think we have a pretty good story about what the threat is to the facility.
Mhm.
And they really want to hear about access to water, which is exactly what the marina does. So I feel pretty good. I've read through the criteria, the eligibility criteria, and I've read through it several times and have been thinking about what things we've done that kind of meet what they're looking for. But it is very competitive. That's what I've been told. I've just never written one before, so we'll see.
And if we're apply for and are approved or not approved for this one, how does that increase or decrease or affect our odds of future grants through the RCA?
According to this, it doesn't. I think it's fairly typical for people to apply over and over again, because they have a rule where you can't, or it says, there's no limit to how many applications you can send in one grant cycle. So there must be some entities that apply for several. I don't think it would affect us negatively at all. They're looking to build recreation
Right.
in the state of
So
Washington.
we can apply for more, but does it
Mhm.
reduce our odds of being approved?
Oh, I don't think so. Not according to this criteria, no. There is nothing in the criteria that mentions previous projects. Yeah.
Guess one other question I have is, what happens if we get halfway through this project and then legislation comes and says we're taking out the dams?
I don't foresee that happening.
I don't either at this point. I'm
I don't-
really
I do
praying
not.
It does not, but
What better power source do we have is the hydro?
exactly.
Well,
Then we
but
could
if-
probably make the argument and say, oh, okay, this was a higher power, that this is where we're at.
Well, those pull-throughs are the highest off in the ground level, so.
Well, and it would be, we would not have a marina anymore, honestly,
Yeah.
but I guess we'd still have a recreation.
Well, if they take dams
facility.
out, the marina's gone anyway.
Right.
Yeah,
But
And
the recreation facility wouldn't have to be.
no, the recreation facility wouldn't have.
It would have
be.
to have a completely
But-
different focus.
Then you.
Yeah, we'd have to focus on
Yeah.
that.
Then it would be pool time,
Then
yeah.
we would be the $2 million
Yeah.
pool.
well, you maybe can rent drift boats.
Yeah.
We'll start rock crawling or something.
Mud racing.
Yeah.
There was a question, did you want to entertain a question, okay, with it? From the audience? There was a
Oh,
question.
yes, absolutely.
If you could entertain me, Eric Young from down the road in Prescott, thank you for recognizing me. I just had a question on the numbers to make sure I get the numbers right. So from the port side, if you contributed $100,000, which is likely higher than what you think you might have to contribute, the 1% per month, that's $12,000 per year.
Yeah, with their rent would increase 12,000 a year. Yeah,
So it's like a 8.5-year return on your guys' investment. Is that,
okay,
am I right?
Oh,
So about 8.5 years, you get all your money
yeah,
back.
yeah.
You guys, from that improvement, make like 120,000 a year,
Mhm.
and you're gonna probably contribute like
400,000 or 300,000.
300,000.
Mhm.
So even with the rent increase, you get all your money back within 3 years. We're gonna invest.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. No,
I'm not
you're right.
missing anything, so all the money comes back.
Yeah, it's because, you know, the purpose of ports is to try to improve the economy and help businesses. And so we're not looking to have our return on investment in 3 years.
I did best.
Yeah, okay.
I would say
You
since
gotta-
we asked one,
Here.
Another Army twins.
Yeah, he could help.
you all right with that?
Yeah, they don't have to put out all the money, they can do work. Cash in hand.
Yes.
All right.
Go ahead, Don.
I was gonna say that is where the ferry crossing was before the dams.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's likely that that's still gonna be, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of problems with the dam.
Right.
I don't see it coming either, but I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Well, I remember, I'm old enough, believe it or not, to remember fishing with my dad on the river before the dams. I was tiny, but I remember bass fishing. So it doesn't mean there's no recreation. It just would be a different world that we hope doesn't happen.
All right.
Jenny, what do we need to do to?
You need to make a motion to, this resolution in their format only has the chair's signature. So you would make a motion to authorize approval of the resolution and Seth to sign it,
Okay.
Commissioner Brian to
I
sign it.
would make that motion to approve resolution. Now I have my glasses, on 2024-03.
Correct.
I will second that motion.
So we have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2024-03. Is there any further commission discussion?
I think it's worthwhile.
Okay, all those in favor respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none opposed. Okay, resolution passes.
Thank you. Here is, so you pass that down to Commissioner Brian this time. Congratulations. Now go find some money.
And honestly, if it weren't for the individuals and what you've already done and your history and all of that stuff, I'd be way more nervous about throwing a bunch of money out there. So it is you guys who have created that avenue for us to become, for me, and I won't speak for everybody else, for me to be comfortable with saying, yeah, we're gonna invest in it.
Thank
So,
you, John.
appreciate
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Like I've always said, it's been a lot of blood, sweat and tears.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
Now you're on the hook for sticking around. We got it on recording.
It's something we enjoy.
So thank you very much. What an asset to our county.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, moving on, Blue Mountain Station.
All right, so we got an immediate response from the grant application that I submitted for the craft malt facility, that we had met the threshold. And we were invited to the May 16th CURB meeting to make a presentation. So this is a funding agency that normally doesn't invite you in unless they're pretty sure they're going to fund you. So it's very good news. And so the business is required to attend also. So Phil Newman will be going with us to Olympia. And we'll make that presentation on the 16th. I have not received any of the pre-contract requirements yet. They always send pre-contract requirements before the meeting. But I haven't seen it yet. But I'm pretty familiar with what they've got. So that's very exciting news. I did also submit an request to both Senator Cantwell and Senator Murray's offices. They call them congressional direct spending, which is basically an appropriation for 2.5 million for match for that project. It doesn't mean the business will provide the match if that money doesn't come through, but if that money were to come through, it would just help reduce the cost to everyone, you know, the business, so that they have less to pay back. So those were not too difficult, so I did both of those this month. Didn't know that Representative McMorris Rogers had one, and it was due in March. We all missed it. Even the consulting firm I'm working with missed it, but she was in town last week, and just for a meeting of select leaders, and I had a conflicting meeting, but Jill went on the port's behalf, and she was able to tell the Congresswoman about the project. So, and she was very interested in it, wasn't she? Yeah. So that's, we've done our work there. And we got letters of support for those, we had to submit letters of support for those requests, and so we got, letters from the chamber, from Phil, and then from Warren Farms,
Okay.
that were here at the last meeting.
Right.
So that was great. And I think that's it on the actual malt business. As far as the grain cluster goes, we have been continuing to meet with the Arrowleaf, the consultant, because they're trying to help us figure out funding and what to do moving forward. And, I don't know, Jill has been working on this a lot. Do you want to talk about the survey a little bit and that we've gotten some responses? Gonna do that now?
Sure. Yeah, so the consultants have provided sort of a baseline list of contacts, but we've just been continuing to grow those, so I've sent a lot of emails with the survey. I think we have, do you remember how many respondents?
There are about nine or 10 responses from
Uh-huh,
businesses. Yeah.
Uh-huh, and most everybody has said, and there's some different questions, but we're following up when they say somewhat interested or very interested. So I've sent some follow-up emails. I haven't heard back too much, but, yeah, the responses have been mostly, I'd say like 80% somewhat interested, maybe like 60% are like very interested. So there definitely is a huge interest in services with the grain cluster, but we just need to get a better idea of what exactly like is needed out there for the grain cluster.
So for what move we would make next, you know?
Yes.
Right.
So, Phil is there are a couple of WSDA grants, but Phil is going to apply for those for funding for some of the things he needs to do. And then there's one, other one, that's more about programming, so we're considering applying for that one later this year. But it would be kind of helping us set up the next steps for what to do for the other businesses that would locate in this cluster. So we're making progress. Good progress. That's all I have on that one.
Yeah, what about glass recycling?
Okay, so I forgot to share this at the last meeting. So we talked about the glass recycling and the question was asked, what happens to the glass that goes to the landfill up here?
Mhm.
Or to the transfer station, and Tracy called John at Columbia County Public Works, and he told her that the glass bin is only there to keep glass from being put in the cardboard recycling container. The glass that is collected there then goes into the landfill and is not recycled. So, as we suspected.
I had the same conversation with him.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I was like, oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So, the guy who wants to come do it is, still working on, transportation, how to get the glass from here back to Walla Walla. So we're still working with them and we'll keep moving forward on it.
So this is the proposal for the new sign.
Yeah. What do you think?
I like it.
Yeah, so did we.
It's nice.
Yeah, we liked it a lot, so.
You guys getting this?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Yep.
Thank you.
To go on the building.
Yeah.
Instead of Blue
The
Mountain.
one, instead of Artisans Food Center, it'll say Public Market.
But the tall sign by the road stays the same.
Tall sign by the road stays the same, and this matches it.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Did you want to change the tall sign?
Uh-oh.
That's some money.
I know that one's way more, and it lights up, which is really nice.
It
It
does
looks
light
very
up,
good.
yeah.
right
And this one has a light on it too. It has a light
Oh.
above it. It doesn't light up, but it has a light
Yeah.
above it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't light
The
up.
sign was 6,000, or the
Yeah.
light was 6,000, the sign was 1,000.
Yes.
Hopefully it's LED.
Anyway, I just wanted you guys to see that since we talked about it and hadn't taken any action yet, but there it is. So that is, we send them after this meeting, we'll send them the down payment and they'll get started on production.
I like it.
Good.
Okay, PWW Railroad.
Okay, so I emailed with the appraiser and he says he will have it ready by June.
Okay,
So that's the only information I have.
okay.
Yeah, and then one other thing that I didn't make it on the agenda, but, there is a group of volunteers has asked to come to Dayton and do work. And so the city public works director has been organizing activities for them to do. And one of the things he wanted them to do was paint over the graffiti on the railroad bridge, on our railroad bridge. And they're willing to do it. So, and the railroad's on board. So I offered to buy the paint. So, they will be here on April 19th, and they're gonna paint the bridge. I thought that was kind of fun.
Now, how will that, do we have to have insurance that covers that?
As I say, we don't have the liability on that, if they fall off the bridge, do we?
Right.
Oh, I don't know.
Ryan will take care of it.
Yeah, that's my concern, it's like, oh, gosh.
Yeah.
No good deed goes
I don't know, I
unpunished.
guess I could talk to Ryan about, yeah, you're right,
I
but
would-
we can't, you know, one time,
I would look at it.
one time when I was the chamber director, we had a horse and we had a wagon come unhitched from the horse and roll backwards into the crowd, and it hurt somebody.
Mhm.
And that was really a scary thing. But after that, you know, it was kind of like, okay, what are we gonna do? Are we never gonna have a parade? You know, sometimes you just have to
And is this bridge over a
do your
waterway?
best.
Or what are they called?
You have to do your
Drop
best
paint
not
into
to
the
be,
river. So I mean, there's
You
some
have to-
things that I would
Yeah.
definitely, I mean, I like the idea, but there's
Yeah.
some things that make me nervous about just. It
But
can
if the
go
city's
wrong.
setting it up,
the city's heading it up and I will watch, I will make sure I'm
Just
watching them.
maybe
How's
ask
that?
them that question.
I will probably be there
Yeah.
watching them. So that, if that's, makes you feel better,
like ring.
yeah. Anyway. Okay,
Okay, so I guess we'll talk about this,
yeah,
Okay.
so
reading piece.
I just thought I would share it with you. It has been months of grueling work between the attorney and the rail management company, because they don't think the same. But this is a railroad style agreement, so it's called a master agreement, and so basically it would cover all of the city's facilities that are within the railroad right of way, the existing.
Right.
You know, not just new, but existing. And so this is like the kind of agreement a railroad would have with Columbia REA. You know, a master agreement that covers all electrical crossings. So that's the spirit of this agreement. Those existing facilities would need to be documented, and that would be Exhibit A, that is mentioned in here in item number C. And then when the city was ready to do the new sewer line work, they would submit drawings and plans to the rail management company as normal and have those plans approved and then get a permit to work in the right of way. Prove they have railroad liability insurance, all that stuff. So that's the model. And the other model is that the city is not charging us to have fiber on their poles. So we are not going to charge them to have sewer line in our right of way. But anytime there is any work that the railroad management company has to do, like reviewing plans or anything like that, there would be a charge. And so that is what is spelled out in one of the attachments. Which one was it? Exhibit C, the very last one, that has a schedule of rates. And so, yeah, so that just tells them, so there's a fee for doing this whole plan. That's like $1,250 or something, and then on top of that would be these application review and other activities, there'd be a charge.
Okay.
So I did discuss with them, you know, the right of way entry agreement. You don't wanna charge the city $1,000 every time they need to go look in a manhole, and that's not the intent.
Mhm.
This is really, if they needed to do work, you know, like come in with a backhoe and tear out a piece of line, that would be a different story, and they would need to speak with the rail management company and make sure that everything they were doing fit railroad standards. The other issue is, not issue, but challenge, I guess, you know, I would call it, I find it challenging, is the difference between the rail management company and the railroad operations. Because you go through the railroad management company to have your plans approved and make sure you have all the right permits. But if you need to talk about when you're gonna work and train stoppages and flagging, you have to go talk to the rail operator. So I asked them, and they did clarify in here who the contacts are. So they're the two different contacts, because that is something we run into on a regular basis. Confusion from people and how they're trying to get things ironed out. So, that is the proposal, and I have sent it to the city for their review. So We don't need to do anything at the moment, but I wanted to give you a head start on,
So the next step is the city approves it and then it comes back to us and.
or the city attorney comes back with changes and our two attorneys hammer them out. That's more likely.
Okay.
Yeah, our attorney had originally proposed doing it more like an easement style agreement, but it just doesn't work for the railroad.
Yeah,
So,
okay,
okay,
all right. Broadband, Dayton Community Broadband Project.
all right, so we've got Zero DB coming back to do a couple of hookups on Baileysburg Road that were missed in the first project. And then after that, we can close that project back out. But there's money in the budget, so we're gonna do it now while there's still money in the grant.
On which road?
Baileysburg.
Okay.
Yeah, out at Baileysburg. They missed two residences somehow. So that one is just, like I said, back open, but should be closed back up again soon. We're over 60% adoption rate. Continue to get good comments from the public. The Tushy Valley Broadband Project, they're finishing splicing. It's just about done. And finally, our vaults came, so for the additional premises, so they finally came this week. So they came and picked those up and they're getting those put in. So we have a letter prepared to go out to those potential customers, and as soon as we get the green light, we're gonna send it out and they can start hooking up.
Okay.
Yeah. So then, yeah, we're getting close to done with those two, and then we gotta decide what to do next.
Right.
So down to the BEAD funding, it is really, the more and more I talk to Petrichor, it's really kind of a challenging method to try to get money to do more broadband. They consider all of Columbia County one project area. So if we were to ask for money, my understanding is we would have to be promising to reach the whole county, which isn't feasible. Right, so Curb just had their broadband program codified, which means it's now part of state law and part of their regular funding programs. So it might make more sense for us to identify areas that we think are important and just go after more Curb funds or more Public Works Board funds, which the Curb funds, they had matched. Public Works Board didn't have a match. But it might be better for us to do that. I'm not gonna do anything though till these other two are done. Get them wrapped up, paperwork. So that, and then lots more charter phone calls and charter drama with I had a farmer who can't get his equipment in and out of some of the roads, and everybody calls us now because they know we're in the fiber business, but they weren't our lines. And most of it has to do with charter taking over the TV pole attachments, and so the old cable either gets left laying or is droopy or, oh yeah, I don't remember if I told you or not in that report that a line was ripped down at Valley View. Did I tell you that in my mid-month report? Yeah, garbage truck went through and it turns out it was droopy cable. And so Petrichor and we have a phone call with Pacific Core this Friday. We need to somebody else needs to pay. Cause I'd have Zero DB come down and put the line back up on the pole. Somehow nobody lost service. The pole was split, broken off. And Pacific Power left the piece behind with our fiber attached to it, just laying on the ground, and nobody lost service.
Wow.
But still, it's a bill, and so we need to figure out whether Civic Core pays or Charter pays or somebody needs to pay, and it's not VDI's fault. The garbage truck was going down the same road it's been going down for 30 years, so it was because that cable had been left drooping. So we deal with that a lot, don't we, ladies?
We do.
We get a ton of phone calls for fiber stuff now that it's not our fiber. But it's okay, we don't mind helping.
What is Charter doing? What are they offering?
I don't know,
I haven't heard.
I haven't either. I had somebody tell me they thought they were putting in coax cable, but they got a splicing truck out on 4th Street, they're putting in fiber. So I don't know, probably TV, probably internet and TV.
Yeah.
And I don't know this, if any of you are Charter lovers, I don't know this for a fact, but Ryan said when he lived in the Tri-Cities, their model was to come in and offer a low introductory price and take customers, and then they raise the price later. But that said, people are nodding.
Pretty accurate. Yeah.
But that said, there are a lot of elderly people in this town that are very confused about internet TV and other things. And so if they could get regular TV.
Yeah.
More, it's okay.
Yeah.
We want people to have good service and be happy.
Okay, moving on, community economic development, I got some staff reports.
I don't think I have much more than what I told you in my mid-month report, the presentation to Blue Mountain Community Foundation Board, and then the nice interview from the Union Bulletin, which was appreciated. They haven't paid attention to us in a long time, so that was nice. Good Blue Mountain Station story. I'll report on housing real quick and then I'll let Jill talk. I was approached by Common Roots again about our land out there. So I just asked them if they would come to a port meeting and make a presentation, because I don't feel like I can accurately tell you what they want to do.
Right.
So they've agreed to come in July.
Okay.
Okay, so July 9th meeting. Okay, I'll let Jill talk. Talk to them.
Okay. Let's see, as far as events go, we have our flea market coming up. We're doing another one that's happening on May 4th. We got a lot of people signed up. There's one other event in Dayton and then another one happening in Waitsburg that's pretty similar. We actually think it's gonna really help because obviously you don't go to a flea market all day. So it is kind of nice to have similar events because then people kind of come to all of them and it's way more enticing. There's like a lot going on.
Yeah, Dumas Station it's like, spring release.
Spring release festival.
And they're
that weekend.
having vendors.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then what's Waitsburg doing?
craft fair,
A craft fair, yeah.
yeah,
All happen to be the same day, so
yeah.
kind of marketing
But I reached
together.
out to all of them and they're all, happy to share our posts and happy to, kind of tagline of day in Dayton or whatever, like a weekend, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The social media campaign continues to go well. We saw an 18% increase in following this month, so that's really great. And we're just continuing to, I keep looking at Veronica, but we're continuing to reach, businesses. We want to keep spotlighting businesses, here. The port was a partner, with Elevate/United Way, on a grant and they got it. So this is gonna be, we're in the planning stage, but this is gonna be a 3-year grant that focuses on post-secondary pathways, for students. So we're looking at implementing some internships and also having some navigators. And so right now we're still in the planning phase of that grant. But I can finally say it, cause I've been working on it all this time. I couldn't say anything, but now I can finally say it.
It's a big grant. There's no
Yes.
financial implications to our port.
No.
We're just a partner in
Just a
helping
partner in
with
it, yes,
the services.
yes.
What did you call it? Pathways when?
Post-secondary pathways, so out of high school, whether that's 2 years.
So forgive my ignorance, but.
Grade. Yeah,
Well, yeah, and they've done some really interesting interviews with students in the region.
Yeah.
Really interesting results. A lot fewer students are wanting to go to a 4-year college.
yeah, they don't see
And-
the return on investment.
Yep,
as much.
because of the cost, because it's so expensive. So this group has to try to figure out, other ways to help students and find the path, whatever path they want,
Yeah.
path to success. So.
Yeah.
We're always looking for interns.
Well, let's keep her in
Yeah,
mind.
yeah,
That's
really.
good. Thank you.
Yeah. And then just one last thing, there's a service called Evergreen Business Link and kind of just is a place businesses can go when they need resources and they don't know who to turn to. So I just met with them and the port's listed on there now. Before you went on and typed in Dayton zip code and the closest services were in Wawa. I was like, we need to be on there because we help businesses. So now we're on there, which is good. Then we just get referrals to the website if someone happens to look for us for business services. So
Nice work.
that's it.
Good job.
And we work with lots of businesses and with the SBDC.
Yes.
We have referred a lot of businesses to the local he told us the other day he's working with 35 businesses in Dayton.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that amazing?
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, good job. Okay, anything else on housing other than the Common Roots?
No, I've not done. I have on my list of things to do to call that contractor, but I have not done it yet.
Okay, well, that's the end of our agenda items. At this time, I will go ahead and open the meeting up for any final public comment. Please limit your comments to 1 minute per person. Any comments in the room?
I got a comment.
You count.
Johnny Watts. If we could, because we're getting warmer, and I don't know if it's my hot flashes, but if we could get the temperature, because we get a bunch of people next meeting.
Okay.
Lower.
Kick it down a hair,
Yay.
that would be great. So,
Agree.
oh my God.
Melissa Bryan, Dayton, Washington. I would just like to know if we could start getting a report on task force. Since the port is involved in task force, I just think it would be really nice if we all knew what the task force is up to.
That'd be on you, Mike.
Yeah, I can give task force. I'm not prepared today because I can't even remember what we talked about last meeting. to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Well, I think that would be a good addition to our meeting,
Sure.
just get a
Yeah.
brief rundown of what's going on with the task force, since we have representation there, so.
Yeah. Be happy
If you
to
want to do that, I appreciate it.
Cool, too bad.
With you?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I'd like to just say a shout out to Blue Wood Ski Resort for this year. They managed their lack of snow well and kept open. I know that all of our businesses in town benefit from them being here, so.
Cool. All right, thank you. I did notice, I went to actually a meeting at the fairgrounds the other day that the Forest Service was putting on. And I know that a lot of, our town is dependent on recreation and what happens in the forest. And at this point, it's not proposed wilderness area, but they have identified a very large amount of land that has wilderness characteristics that over the next couple of years are going to be evaluating and potentially putting it as wilderness, which would then absolutely limit, if not eliminate, motorized vehicle travel into our forest.
Was this at our county?
Yes.
Yeah, it's all over the damn place.
Yeah, so I think as, the Economic Development Agency, that it would be good for us to be aware of what's going on and use our voices to let them know that, our economy benefits greatly from the recreation opportunities that happen in the mountains, and we don't want to lose those, so.
Cool.
Yeah, like I said, it's not proposed, their words is not proposed yet, but it's definitely being considered, and it's on the table, and it's a lot of the area here. And it's already, they said 25% of our forest here in this part of the Umatilla Forest, 25% of it is already wilderness. So, moving more would be a big hit on us, so. At least that's my stance on it, and as far as economic development goes, I think we benefit a big deal from people recreating up in those mountains.
We do.
That's all I really have to say on that.
Nothing?
No. I'll wait till next meeting.
You pace yourself?
Oh, no, I want to make sure I got my ducks in a row.
Oh.
All right, with that, anybody else? Anybody on Zoom? Okay. Time is 6:28, and we'll call this meeting adjourned. Thanks for
Thanks
coming,
for the
everybody.
discussion.
Thank you.
And the audience